We pay a fraction of what we pay for the Olympics. We generated over $64 million worth of free television coverage last year alone. It's gone from 24 holes to 30. I suspect next year it'll go to all 40 holes for no extra dollars. It's absolutely brilliant. We only pick holes 13 through 18 because most of you know who play golf. That's the most beautiful holes in golf on every course. Not really. Those are the ones they show on television. I think they're the most beautiful holes in golf. Oh, come on, that was funny. I don't know where. I know it's after lunch, but stick with me here. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Then we're also moving in terms of different types of things of activation. I don't know if you've seen Iron Man 2, but we actually integrate ourselves into the story. Everybody else, like LG and some of the others that are in there, they pay for those kinds of things. We try to become part of the story, where they actually use film canisters as part of the plot of the story. And so what we try to do is look for properties and try to insert ourselves. Or like Celebrity Apprentice, which I happen to be a judge on for the last 3 seasons. I've been on there 9 times. And we try to make ourselves part of the story. Because as your speaker said earlier, I want it to lead to sales. Someone says, well, why would you do that? Because after I go on this show with our products, I double sales for a period of time. And then we activate. Then Donald Trump holds up things like Price Inc., you're fired, and so forth and so on, and we continue to do it. In fact, this season, if you watch this season, we were in the 2nd episode. The entire 2-hour second episode was devoted to Kodak. The first season that we did it, by the way, it was a 43 minutes of airtime out of the full hour. They said the name of Kodak or the name of our product every 13 seconds on average during the show. You can't buy that television commercial for that. This season, we're on the 2nd episode, 2-hour episode, and now we're on every single episode thereafter. Because, see, they pull out the Kodak moment. What are your favorite Kodak moments out of the show? Vote on your favorite and win a chance for some prizes. And what we did was we relaunched the word Kodak moment. Because the marketing team before my regime had let Kodak moments expire as a trademark. And I said, we're bringing it back. Because it's something that everybody uses, and we're going to put a new, different version of that name together on it, and we're going to do something like, and I can tell you, I can drag people into these kinds of things because they didn't want to do something with Celebrity Apprentice. My gosh, who's on there? Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. Okay? And so we changed. Then you got to have a personality with the brand, in my opinion. This is a camera that we launched on April 1st of last year. It's the iCamera, April 1st of last year. It's got the wink and shoot shutter. It's got the what's it? It's the selective autofocus and zoom. I like that one. Oh, I like her. I don't care about him, man. I like the facial recall system, which is handy at parties and reunions. Image stabilizer, which is auto-enabled at happy hour. I thought that was a good one. Imagine how many employees came up to me during the cafeteria going, I didn't know we made that. It's amazing. How much is that, Jeff? This year we launched aromatography. Yeah. Photography you could smell. And we put it on our website. I should have a picture of that because it's great because we had put a picture like of all flowers and then a big yellow button right in the middle of things to sniff here. You're laughing, but like, I swear to God, I got like over 2,000 emails going, I actually put my nose up to the computer screen and I sniffed it and nothing happened. My favorite one photo, because we do 5 photos. Remember that? We had a wet dog, we had cookies, and my favorite one was a baby in a diaper crawling away with a big sniff here right on the back of the diaper. I know. So I love that reaction, because that's what I like, okay? Because you got to do it. It makes it so believable, all right? And then, we're activating through social media. I happen to be one of the top C-level executives who Twitter. I mean, I Twitter about the event, Twitter about this, but it's about activation. Someone said, why will you Twitter? Why would the brand want to Twitter? Well, aren't Kodak moments something you share? And isn't Twitter and social media something you share? So to me, they're kind of go hand in hand. That's why we actually bought a piece of Tweet Photo, because we want to be part of that activity. We got the Smile Maker app, which is really cool. I don't know if you've done it. It's one of the top 10 apps. So you can actually take a picture of somebody and then put different lips on them and different faces. And now we got celebrities giving us their lips and their faces and everything else. And so you can do that. Times Square, if you ever get to New York, you can actually program to have your picture show up on the Times Square sign at the time you want. Yeah, it's cool. You can stand in front and get a picture of your picture of the picture of your picture in the picture. Yeah, that's really freaky, but it's cool. And then The tips and exchange thing is one of our biggest areas. It's not the most exciting, but it's all these different content. It's a lot of things, and people really like it. We're doing a mobile app guide that we do for B2B. We also have a social media guideline. If you want it, you can write tom@kodak.com, and we'll give you our social media policies and our tips and everything else. Millions have been downloaded already. And then we do something called Experience Kodak. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got to be really good because they put it on the slide. Okay, now, all right. So, I really believe in what I call the 4 E's. By the way, social media has been around forever. It's been around forever. It's called the AMA. It's called the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club. Okay? It's been around. It's just now happens to be more online and more people are doing it. The key thing for most brands is to engage with the people in the communities that they're working with. I mean, when someone writes an actual tweet, and this is an actual tweet. Let me, because I'm in Canada. F you and your effing products, you effing suck, F you Kodak. Okay, that was a real tweet. And so I want to know that's going on. And I want to engage in that person and try to turn them around. And we actually did turn that person around. It was one of our employees. And we got him active with the thing and got him involved, you know, and it was like one of those kind of things. But when someone writes, you know, Jeff Hayzlett, at Jeffrey Hayzlett, and at Kodak UK, take your printer and shove it up your USB port. You know, that was another one. They're very ingenious tweets. You want to have these conversations. That doesn't mean you have to lose your personality either. Doesn't mean as a big company you can't still have your personality. I mean, I am who I am, so I'm doing Twitter because, you know, that's who I'm sharing it mostly with my family. They want to know where I'm at, what I'm doing, that's what I do, and that's what I write about. So I don't just vomit up information about Kodak. I do some contest or do some of those things. But, you know, if someone ticks me off, writes something very rude, I'll write back, bite me. You know, and then my team says, well, you can't do that, Jeff. You got to, you know, calm it down. The PR team comes over and says, you got to be nicer. So now I say, please bite me before I say this. But what happens with the conversations is you engage in these conversations and things happen and someone comes to you and they say, add a mic jack. If you add a mic jack, I'll buy the product. And we go, wow, that's pretty good. Let's go ask. And we ask somebody and send out a tweet and say, what do you think? And pretty soon, 50,000 tweets come back. And they say, yeah, you should do that. So now we added that in less than 5 months, and now we outsell the competitor 10 to 1 from a simple idea about engagement. So they educate you back and forth. And then from that leads to excitement, and the excitement leads to evangelistic kind of activity, so they become brand ambassadors for you. And pretty soon you start seeing the community jump in when Big Ink tries to attack you online and goes after you personally. They jump in and say, stop that. And we don't have to, all we got to do is stand back. We actually just recently hired a chief listening officer. Okay, I announced it. Took me almost 9 months to find somebody, the right person. Now, we're having a sale on this camera for those that would like to have a thing. So, actually, it will still work. I hope. What the heck was I talking about? Chief listener, yeah, I can't even listen to myself. So we had a chief listener, and this person acts like an air traffic controller. Now, this doesn't mean they got to listen to every conversation on there, but I want to be organized in the way in which we enter because the scale of this is huge now. I mean, think about it. I got people in Germany, France, Italy, and all these other countries, and they're all tweeting, and they're all talking about things, and I got to hear all this stuff, and I got to know what's going on, and I got to have some trends about what's happening. So you got to have software, and you got to participate, and you got to figure out how to route these conversations into customer service, and these conversations over to sales, and these conversations to the product marketing team. So that's what our chief listener does, was to really be a cheerleader for that kind of activity inside of a big company like ours to be able to route those conversations. By the way, before we participated, to say this doesn't work, before we participated in online activities and social media, 46% of our traffic was negative. It was complaints. Today it's less than 6%. It works. And it works very effectively. So, you know, people say it doesn't work. I don't get it, okay? And one of the things I'll tell you about this is lots of numbers and so forth. The next to last point is the most important, quality versus quantity. Every one of you in this room is probably trying to knock it out of the park with a home run on a viral video. Quit. Most people won't remember what they are a year from now anyway. I'll guarantee it. But I would much rather be focusing on a smaller community that's deeper in terms of the conversations and the quality of those conversations around my brand than I will across millions and millions and millions and millions of people, okay? So quality is better than the quantity. And so it used to be ears and eyeballs was the big measurement. I'll tell you now it's going to be hearts and minds as we look forward. Now, a lot of times we talk about, financial people come to me and talk about what's the ROI. Okay? You always get that question. Well, Jeff, what's the ROI on this? What's your return on investment? So here's my question that I think you should ask back when they say that. I don't know, what's your return on ignoring? When you tell me what the return on ignoring is, I'll tell you what the return on investment is. Because all I know is I need to be engaged in these conversations. I need to be participating at some level. That doesn't mean, it was interesting to listen to 10% of the social media spend. I thought that was great to be able to hear that. Who the hell's spending that kind of money? They're not. You can't. I don't even think you can. So I think that's all bullshit. But you can write that down. So, yeah. I try to watch my language. Once at an internet conference, and I actually said the F word. Wasn't the Fuji word, it was the F word. And I was so excited. I was talking about the Kodak challenge, and I said, this is so freaking awesome. And it was an internet conference. It was like 4,000 people, the Ad Tech conference. You guys know the Ad Tech conference, right? And yeah, it's a good, well, at least one person's been there, by God. It's exciting. She gets out of the country every so often. This is great, you know.